Welcome to part 2 of the video series on Parachains. In today's video, Paradox will cover crowdfunding. I will be eagerly watching this one. Thank you, Paradox.
Hi everyone, welcome back to this 3-part series on Parachains. Just a quick recap. A parachain is an application-specific data structure built on Polkadot. It provides functionality in the form of decentralized apps. It requires DOT or KSM to establish a lease. So, part 2. What is a crowdloan? Well, a crowdloan is a mechanism or a system in which a project can gather funds from the community to be used in the bidding process to win a parachain slot. It is governed by a crowdloan module that's built into the Kusama and Polkadot system, and it's available via polkadot.js. Projects create crowdloans which have a target amount of currency and a period for which the module would be available. A crowdloan can span several auctions and would carry funds over from one auction period to the next if the project does not win a particular auction. Your funds need to be unbonded to participate and would be reserved during this time. That's not transferable. You contribute, but you don't send funds to the project. Please don't send funds to the project owner. It's quite like nominating, in which you nominate a validator, but your funds don't go to the validator per se. You won't receive any staking rewards during this time. So that's something to note. And your funds will be made available to you again under two circumstances. One, the crowdloan ends without a success, or the project wins a slot, and when the lease period for that slot is up, you get back your funds. So either way you get back your funds, but you need to note there's a time difference there. So let's take a quick look at how to contribute. So you will have to go to Rococo, and to do so you go, you can click on the icon to the top. You go to tests, relays, and parachains, and you select Rococo. Now we're just doing this now, but of course this will be available in Kusama or Polkadot natively. This is just for demonstration purposes. So when you go, you will probably start at accounts, but we want to go to network parachains. Okay, so we see some of the parachains that are live. We see Parathreads. This is where the auction would be happening. Apparently there are no auctions at the moment. And unfortunately there are no campaigns that I can contribute. But if you look at ongoing, normally if there is an active auction crowdloan happening, you would be able to contribute. You'll see a button that says contribute on this page, and this is where you want to go so that you can contribute to your favorite project. Okay, so I invite you to try this on your own time, and just so you can familiarize yourself, and hopefully when you take a look there'll be an ongoing crowdloan. Okay, back to the presentation. Okay, so let's take a look at this timeline. We have a crowdloan that a project is running a crowdloan for 8 weeks. And we can see after 2 weeks, they have gathered 25,000 KSM, right? So that's 25K, not KSM, 25,000 KSM at week 2. Unfortunately, the project didn't win. So the project doesn't need to go and gather funds all over again. They can actually just build on what they had before, and now the project has gathered 40,000 in total at week 4. However, that wasn't enough to win the Parachain auction. So another 2 weeks go by and the project has gathered 50,000 KSM, and with this they have won the Parachain slot. So they have won the slot and it's going to last for 24 weeks. So someone contributing at the beginning at week 0, their funds would be locked up all the way for 30 weeks. And at this point in time, all of the 50,000 KSM is returned and the project has the option to start a new crowd loan. However, at week 6, some projects may start distributing rewards. But regardless, the crowd loan module ends. So, these are some of the things we need to take a look at, and these are some of the factors, and all on a nice timeline so you can see what happens. Okay, so I have mentioned prior that your funds won't be receiving any staking rewards. So you need to be rewarded in some other way. And this is where projects will be presenting proposals to you. So projects will try their best to entice currency holders to invest in their projects. There are several reward approaches. There is no defined approach. However, all provide rewards in the form of native tokens to the project. Some provide rewards while you've funded the crowd loan and while the project has not yet won an auction. So that period before the project actually wins, there are some projects that may say, I will give you some rewards during this time, And in the majority of the cases, the majority of the rewards are distributed when the project wins the auction. Now, this might be all up front. As soon as they have won an auction, they may give the rewards all up front, or it may be distributed over the lease period. Each proposal is different and you need to evaluate these things yourself. So I'm going to just take a look at this hypothetical situation in which we have a crowd loan that will, during the crowd loan activity period, that's before a win, you will get, every week you'll get 7%. So if you had 1 KSM, you get 0.07 KSM. If you had 100 KSM, you get 7 KSM every week. Sorry, if you have 1 KSM, you get 0.07 of the native token. And if you have 100 KSM, you get 7 of the native token every week. And if there's a win, you get, for every 1 KSM you contribute, you get 1 of the native token. Okay, so let's put this on the timeline. So if we look at weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, for each of those weeks, you get 7 of the native token if you invest 100 KSM. On week 6, however, you get an extra 100 because you get that 1-to-1 ratio of native tokens to KSM, and the project won at that point in time. So at the end of the 30 weeks, you get back your 100 KSM. Okay? So you need to look at some maths, and I'm just going to give you some figures for you to consider. If it were that you invested 100 KSM, and we assume we use some non-compounding maths, and we derive 0.288 KSM for every week. That's what you would get staking without compounding. We're just using that as an example. After 30 weeks, you will have 8.64 KSM. And if you invested in a crowd loan, you would have 100 KSM, which is your initial investment, but you will also have 142 TOK, or whatever that native token is. So the difference is that if you were staking on chain, you would have 8.64 KSM after 30 weeks, in addition to your 100. And if you funded this crowd loan, you would have 142 of the native token after 30 weeks. So if we look at the value of 8.64 KSM, that might be, at the time of putting together this presentation, $3,456. That would require that native token, 142 of that native token, to reach a value of $24.33 per native token. So these are the kind of things you need to balance. And if it is that you don't think that native token is worth $24.33 per token, then it may be better for you to keep your 100 KSM and stake it on chain. But let's look at some of the considerations. I discussed the first one, is 142 native tokens worth more than 8.64 KSM at the end of 30 weeks? You need to make that call. You need to think it through. Can you stake those 142 native tokens to earn more rewards? That's something, you're getting it up front, but can you stake it? And, would it double or triple, or what are the staking rewards over that time? Okay, and not only that, but the price of the commodity is also going to increase over that time as well, or at least we'll be hopeful of the same. Now, the last point is, what if you sold your KSM? There's a price rise or something, because, everyone wants to get KSM now to invest in crowd loans. So you sold your KSM and you invested all of it into this TOK at a low price at the beginning. And, so you didn't participate in the crowd loan per se, but you bought the tokens, you sold your KSM and you bought the tokens, and you sold after 30 weeks. Or you kept it in the project for a very long time to show your commitment, and later on in the future you evaluate the price. So these are the kind of things that you need to consider. This is not financial advice, it is just general advice or things that you need to look out for. So we're wrapping up. Let's take a look at a summary of what we discussed. Crowd loans is a mechanism to help projects fund their bid for a Parachain slot. This is facilitated by an in-application function governed by the Crowdloan module. So everything is in-app. Funds contributed via Crowdloan never leaves your account. The funds are reserved until either the Crowdloan modules end without a winning bid, or when the lease period is completed following a winning bid. Projects will try to get you to invest by offering you native tokens within their project. You need to evaluate if this native token incentive is worth more, as you won't receive any staking rewards during the crowd loan or Parachain lease time. Okay, so you have some stuff to think about. I thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the final part. Take care.
Thanks, Paradox. That wraps up part 2. Next up is Parachain bidding. Hope to see you there.